And welcome back to Meeting of the Minds. I'm Gene Zanetti, your coast-to-coast mindset coach from Winning Mindset. We're ready to get one going again. Another great one today with Joe Jamison from Ursinus College. He's going to be jumping on in a few short minutes, so we're excited to have him. We thank you all for joining us on a regular basis, especially during this time, during Corona. Not always easy to stay positive and motivated, but that's exactly what we're bringing to you over here. Wrestling Mindset, sports-specific, systematic mindset program. Make sure everyone text Mindset1 to 84576 for a daily motivation blast. So text Mindset1 to 84576. All right, let's bring in Coach. Joe, what's going on?
Hey, Gene, how are you, man?
Good. How have you been?
I'm good. Good. We're hunkered down here, and everyone's happy and healthy. So it's really all we can really ask for, at this point.
Yeah. So Ursinus has a very interesting record over there, right? As far as marriages?
Oh, yeah. It's a big thing there to get married at they're in the, well, it's not a chapel anymore. It used to be a chapel. And but Bromberger Hall has got a very long waiting list for alumni to get married in, and they seem to have them a lot, man.
Doesn't Ursinus actually have like the most marriages among students?
Yeah.
In the country, something like that? Did I get that right?
I'm not sure what the number actually is, but it's like an absurd number of students that met at Ursinus and ended up getting married there in Baumberger Hall. It's just a crazy number. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in the thousands. It's a lot.
That's awesome, because I'd assume as student athletes, big reason why I think most high school kids are going to college, if they're thinking about wrestling and they're thinking about meeting a girl. And here you go. No, that's awesome. That's good stuff. No, I just thought about that popped into my head. I was actually over there a few years ago, back when I was doing my doctoral work at LaSalle. The positive psychology founder was actually over there speaking.
Okay.
Martin Seligman from the University of Pennsylvania. He gave a speech over there.
Nice. Yeah, man. Yeah, like it's a beautiful campus. Like you said, like we're not too far out of Philly, so it's great. We get people to come up all the time, to speak or just to come up and visit campus and see what we have going on.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what are your athletes doing now? I know we're all hunkered down, like you said, but what are they doing? Are they getting back to you? Are they keeping you updated on what they're doing? How are they staying in shape?
Yeah. So like we're of course keeping in touch with all the guys. We have some Zoom meetings every couple of weeks as a team, just to keep everybody in touch. And me and my assistants we could kind of rotate through every class. Like, okay, I'll call seniors this week, you call juniors, and we just keep that rotating. But then off and on, like I'll get texts all the time from the guys, just non-wrestling talk a lot, just to see what's going on with everybody. But at the same time, this is everyone has their individual situation right now. Some guys have it really good where they have a wrestling mat in their basement, or they have a neighbor that's got a mat and they got a gym in their basement. And I have other guys that are going outside and doing pull-ups on tree branches.
That's it.
But it's a very interesting time for all of us. But at the same time, like you have a chance to separate yourself from everybody else.
That's right. You got to capitalize, and we're going to find who was capitalizing on this time and who is not. Now, is this one of your wrestlers that says we're lifting, Jay Brandt? Is that one of your guys?
Oh yeah, he's an incoming freshman.
All right, nice.
Oh yeah, he's getting big, man. We always laugh. He wrestled 160 in New Jersey. He's tipping the scales right now about 189. He's getting big real quick.
It's a tank. Awesome. Yeah, anyone who's from Ursinus, make sure you let us know underneath on the bottom. I love seeing that when we see the participation from the team. That's great. Yeah, good stuff. All right, excellent. So what are some overall coaching philosophies you have, mindsets that you give the team, anything like that?
Yeah. So, from a coaching perspective, I've always had, before taking the job at Ursinus, I was an elementary school teacher for 18 years. And the biggest thing about me is I've always felt that relationships were incredibly important when it comes to, whether having your students be, successful in the classroom or your athletes being successful on the mat. Like you want to be able to go out there and compete for someone that you trust and believe in. right? And the same thing goes in the classroom when I was a teacher. So that's number one. Like I've always felt that me being able to build a relationship with each one of my athletes is the most important thing. And that's from a coaching side. From a competitive side, we want guys to go out there for 7 minutes and lay it on the line and just continue to score points.
Right.
That's what we want. We want guys to be exciting out there. Like no one's coming to watch to go on and watch paint dry, right? And and so that's what we want. We want guys to go out, score points, and even if you're in a position where you're not really a scoring position, but you can win that position. Whether if you're fighting off underhooks and you got to get your head inside, like win that position. And I find that a lot of times if you worry about winning and losing, you're probably going to end up losing, right?
Yeah.
But if you just focus on scoring points and being in the moment, that's when good things happen and the results will typically take care of themselves.
That's it. Yeah, that's what we're always saying. That whole predator mindset is really geared towards focusing on things within your control as opposed to things outside of your control, right? And yeah, like you said, just being aggressive, getting after it. It's exciting. It's more fun, and ultimately, you're more likely to do better.
Right. So oh yeah, man. And you know what? This sport's hard enough, right? I mean, it's a challenging sport, but at the same time, it's a simple sport. And you just got to go out there and just wrestle and score points. And but like you said, with having that's fun. Scoring points is fun. And if you learn to go out and embrace that and and not be afraid to put yourself in the tank, and you walk off 7 minutes and know that you gave everything that you got, results will come and life's a lot easier.
That's right. That's right. And I also like what you said about, it's the student athlete. It's using wrestling as that vehicle to build virtue, to build those mental skills really for life. And that it's got to be both.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that carries off into the classroom, right? Sure. Like you have to, like one of the things that I've learned, is from being at Princeton, I was fortunate enough to work under Chris Ayers. And one of the things he always talked about is, it's living an all-American lifestyle. Everyone's an all-American at 4:00 in the afternoon at practice, right? Like everybody works hard at that time. It's the things that you do outside of the wrestling room that you can separate yourself. And that comes from your sleep schedule. That comes from getting your work done. That comes from going to class. That comes from, getting your lifts in, doing your conditioning. It's everything. It comes from who you associate with.
Right.
And surround yourself with good people. And, so while, those values that we take from wrestling are important as we go on in life, it carries over into everything that you do.
That's right. No, absolutely. And what kind of student athletes are you looking to recruit at Ursinus? What are you looking for when you're looking at the kid? Of course, the academics, athletics, like you said, putting points on the board, their character. I'm sure a lot of times coaches are also seeing what kids are posting up on social media, which is actually a good point to make now that you can find out a lot more about a kid from looking at their social media than you can from
really quick too.
Yeah.
Really quick, you can find out. Character is big for us. Like culture is really, really important to us. And that was one of the, when I took the job and came in, I wanted to make sure that, a positive culture was instilled and the guys were excited to come to practice and they're excited to compete. And that, and they're a pretty tight knit group, coming in. I realized that immediately that we have a very strong family environment at Ursinus and maintaining that is essential for our success as a program. But at the same time, man, I want guys that want it tough. Ursinus is an incredibly challenging institution and, academically and, but on that respect too, we have a very strong student athlete culture. Our incoming freshmen last year across the whole school, 60% were athletes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah. And so about half of students on campus are student athletes. So it's a place that will push you. But it will get you to the next level, and that's what we want. We want guys that want to grow as individuals. And if you're not looking to be challenged in all facets of life, we're probably not the place for you.
Right. Makes sense. But if that is something you want to do, it sounds like Ursinus is a great fit because you could point to almost any random student and say, what sport do you play? And they probably are playing a sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, and like I said, half of the students that are on campus are athletes. So the culture there, is incredibly strong, and the administration at the college, they know that the athletic experience is part of the overall growth of the
Right.
student. And
Right.
we have 1,500 kids in 25 varsity sports.
Wow. Yeah.
Like that's unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask next, what are some things that makes Ursinus unique? And obviously that would be one of them.
Yeah, and that's one of them. But on the other side too, like we have a really strong music and theater program that a lot of and it's I mean I want to say the number escapes me at the moment, but I think it's about 25% of the student body is in the performing arts as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's typically a place that will attract people that are very strong students, but also have like their niche and things that they want to use and grow as people, whether it be performing arts or or athletics.
Yeah, it sounds like people there are on a mission. They're not just
Yeah.
moseying along and just kind of drifting. They're dedicated to something, and that's what you love to see. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, as long as it's good things, you're doing them. You're consistent, and that carries over. People might not think that on the surface, but if you have people who are dedicated to theater or instruments or whatever it is, that's inspiring. You want to be around people like that.
Of course, yeah, and that's what passion is, right? Passion is finding that one thing that you love, and just trying to become the best you possibly can at it.
Right.
And Ursinus is a place where you can do that, And my wife and I, when we had kids, that was the one thing that we talked about that was really important to us. Is I don't care if my son or daughter wrestles. I don't care if they play sports. Like my wife's a performer, and it was our big thing was they need to find something that they're passionate about and then work their tails off at it.
That's it.
And that's all we ask, and that's it. And of course, as an educator, I want them to be good students too, but they need to find something. They need to find their passion and then just go and be the best that they possibly can at it. And that's all I want.
Definitely. No, that's great.
Yeah.
And what are some common mindset mistakes, or we call them mental red flags? Everyone calls them something different, either mental mistakes or common mental traps you maybe see incoming freshmen struggle with, or even athletes that are leaders of the team. Not that we're singling anyone out or anything, but just some things you say.
Yeah. I think a lot of times for incoming freshmen, and I had this when I was an athlete too, as an issue, like looking back on myself now, like I was looking to go in and make an impact immediately. Right. And try to just set the world on fire and not understand that I had so much to learn, not only as a student athlete, but as a person. You kind of go in and you think, that you're like the next best big thing, and you're the hot commodity in the room. But then when it comes down to it, like you have a lot to learn. Right. And I'm pretty honest with my guys in telling them about my experiences as a student athlete, but not only that, but my experience as a first-time head coach. Like I have a lot to learn, and I understand that like I don't have all the answers, and we're going to work together to find those answers and get you what you need. But I think they get a lot of respect out of my honesty from that like you have a lot to learn as a student athlete, but I understand that I have a lot to learn here as a first-time head coach, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know everything, because I think people see through that, right? And I'm very big on honesty, not only with my athletes, but in my personal life. And when they hear about my experiences, about what it was like for me as a student athlete, and I'm honest about my experiences, and I'm honest about what I'm doing right now, I think they tend to look at themselves a little bit more honestly, and it's about coming in the room and just trying to get better.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that that's a good point right there, that it's important that the kids see the authority structure, and that it's not athlete and coach on the same playing field,
right?
But there's a clear authority structure, and the authority carries themselves with dignity, but at the same time, not where it's nose in the air and I'm unapproachable, I don't struggle with anything. No, I think that athletes or anyone, whether it's a business, a family, that people see that the authority is one of them. We struggle too.
and we don't have it all figured out, and we're going to figure it out together. I think both of those are important, that authority structure and dignity of the authority, as well as being one of the people and being real.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. And like if they'll ask me like, hey coach, how are things going? I'm like, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. You know, and like, they'll see me like sweating, trying to do budgetary stuff. And I'm like, I'll be honest with you guys. This is the first time I've had to balance a budget and really work within it and find constraints and, and they see me struggle with things, but persevere through it. And, and I hope that when they see me do those types of things, that they're going to realize that that's just a part of life, what they're doing right now as a student athlete is just going to carry over and allow them to mentally be able to approach things as they get older and grow.
Yeah. It's important for them to see, it's like, hey, we have bad days too. There's a lot of things we do that we don't like to do, and things that we're not very good at. And if they could see the way your attitude, I think even more importantly than the success, just the attitude as you take on a task, as you do something, that goes a long way. Sometimes we learn a lot more by watching rather than even listening.
For sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah. And there's sometimes too, like these guys that are, our science students are really, really good students. And one of the guys on the team is a math major, Ray. And I'm like, Ray, come here. Come on over here, bud. And he'll sit down with me. I'm like, all right, dude, like we need to work through this a little bit with me. So like, and that's the other thing too. I tell the guys like, as what was very important to me in building my coaching staff is that we have no egos at all. And when we talk to the guys about, when it comes time for competition, and if you want someone in your corner, you need to be vocal and tell us that. Like, if you tell me, like, hey, coach, I really want Coach Childs and, and Coach Spade in my corner. Well, okay, great. That's I want to be, and that's part of the honesty and respect part too. Like, I want what's best for you, and, and as a coaching staff, we don't have any egos. Like we're in it for our athletes. So all those things go a long way, I think.
Yeah. And I think that underlying virtue is just humility, right? Knowing again, and we're not putting down confidence. Of course, be confident all the way, right? But there's a big difference between confidence and cockiness. Yeah. We always say cockiness is like we're comparing to one another, or we're comparing to other people. That's not what true confidence is. That's cockiness. Right. Confidence is I can be humble. I can be coachable. And I'm happy to, and it's like, as you said, respecting the student athletes as they get older, you want to hear what they're saying. And sometimes if you can, you accommodate that. Of course, there's going to be other times you have to make it the executive decision. Can't be this time, but it's important that you have that dialogue.
Oh, 100%. And, and the guys too have learned, I think, pretty quickly that I'm always open to talk about whatever that they need to talk about. And a lot of times with like hard decisions of guys who come in and be like, hey coach, I think I should be the starting guy at this weight, and we'll sit down and we'll talk through it. And we'll have to have those tough conversations about why you're not the guy, or like, okay, like I really think that you can be the guy, or here's what I need you to do. And I think the guys respect the fact that they're able to come in and sit down and have those conversations. And, if they're willing to come in, I owe them the respect of sit there and have the conversation.
Yeah. Like you said, the honesty is big. The honesty is big. And then the ability to really have that open door of communication, because you want to hear what your athletes, you go back to Gable. He knew his athletes really well. He did a lot of homework on his athletes. He would sometimes call their high school coach, speak to their teachers, talk to their family, their girlfriend, whatever it took to understand his athletes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true. Like, and I learned this, when I first started teaching, again, as a first year teacher, I knew everything, right? And I know how everything worked. And then you quickly realize that, a lot of those, old school mentalities they just don't work, right? A lot of times they don't, like the old school mentalities of honesty and hard work will always, I think, stick around and persevere, but a lot of times it's like, people are individuals. And for me to sit here and think that I can treat everybody exactly the same is insane. It's nuts, So, so like you really need to know your athletes as people, as students, as competitors, and know what works for them, what's going to get them going, what is going to, deter them. Like there's some guys that you can really that you can really push, and some guys thrive off of like me getting in their face. Other guys, they turn off, and they really, really need positive reinforcement constantly, So it's just a matter of just knowing your guys and knowing what makes them tick. That's going to allow them to go out and perform at their best.
Yeah, we tell our athletes that all the time, that it's so important for them to communicate with their coaches because, all right, at Ursinus, they're very blessed. They have a coach who's going to help initiate those meetings. At a lot of schools, the coaches, maybe they're more to themselves, or they just maybe whatever it might be, it could be anything. They don't have that same kind of relationship, and the same thing with their parents. So we want the athletes to be proactive with expressing to the coach and to their parents like how they'd like to be treated on match day, not telling the coach how to coach, not telling the parent how to parent, but explaining to the coach, this is what gets me going. Talk to me about something other than wrestling before I step out there, so I don't get too caught up in the moment. Like, joke around with me, laugh. And other coaches and other athletes might want to be treated more, fire me up.
Yeah, and I think, and that's something I've learned over time. And I think one of the biggest things that's helped me as a coach and as a recruiter even, what do you need from me that's going to help you, or what do you need from me that's going to make your decision easier, And if they know that I am extending that to them, tell me what you need, or what can I do for you to make your experience here at Ursinus better, or what do you need from me to help you make a decision on what school that you want to go to? Tell me, and I will do everything I can to give that to you.
Right. That's such an important lesson for coaches. I hope any coaches on here look at that, and look, we could all grow. My dad always said the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Yeah. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. I want to find a little bit, well, what are you doing? What's this coach doing? What's that coach doing? And you blend it all together and you use it. So like you said, not having any egos, learning from everyone. So important.
Yeah, it's the name of the game. I mean, if anyone thinks that they know everything, they probably know nothing, right?
Yeah. Once you think, I heard this quote, once you think you have all the answers, you need to start changing your questions.
Yeah.
That's another way you could put it.
Yeah. So, and on that regard, like when we have like our one-on-one meetings with the guys on the team, like in the fall, talking about their goals, I tell them, come prepared with questions, and I have questions, and that's the biggest thing. Like most of our dialogue is us, asking questions, because that's, I think, is the best way for us to learn about each other and from each other.
Absolutely. Well, so especially with your teaching background, we know the best teachers are excellent at asking questions. Yeah. So that's an important thing.
Yeah. And not only that, just knowing that I can learn from them. I think it's incredibly important, it doesn't matter how long I've been wrestling or how long that they've been wrestling. The sport evolves constantly. Mindsets are incredibly important. And, me going into that room every day, knowing that I have an opportunity to get better as a coach, but also, I can improve as a wrestler too, right?
Sure.
And I think the guys see that too. Like I'll roll around at least 3 times a week, and I always, and I'll be wrestling with a guy and I'll give up a takedown or something. I'm like, whoa. Let's go back and revisit that. And I'll sit there and I'll work through a position, right? Yeah. Because that's just going to make me, me improving is going to make me a better partner for some of my guys that have aspirations of getting on a podium.
Right. Knowing what to do in different situations, actually feeling it. It is important that, sometimes we get a little bit too far removed to like zoom back in. So we remember what the guys are going through and, the little struggles here and there. That's an important thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right. How do we get more people over to Ursinus? Where can people find more information about the college, about you, the social media pages, websites? Where can we point them?
Yeah, so we're on like all the social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just go to there. Links are on there. You can go to ursinusathletics.com. All the coaches are always on there. So if you have any questions, you can shoot us a DM, especially on Instagram. It's pretty easy. Our recruiting questionnaire is there right on our website there, as is my email address. So we're pretty accessible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. A lot of great information there. A lot of really good takeaways. So again, I hope people are sitting there with the paper, notebook, a pen, jotting down all the information, because it really is great stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the time, and stay safe, man. I hope your family's doing well.
You too. You too. Talk soon.
All right, man. Thanks.
Take care.